We've got to talk about this big rumor of Elias Pettersson and William Nylander to the Chicago Blackhawks. Welcome to the channel. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, like, comment down below. Wow, Matt Murley dropping a bomb, a rumor bomb on Spittin Chiclets. I think it's game notes that they do every day. Big shout out to Spittin Chiclets and Matt Murley, who's out of Sweden. There's a lot of connections here, so got to give the shout. It's interesting. I mean, a lot of people, and I'm not just talking about like insiders and journalists and people writing about it. I've had conversations with people in the industry, and they think William Nylander's a big market guy. And I think when you look at like the original 6 teams in the NHL and look at big market teams, Chicago's got to be one of them. I think this Elias Pettersson, so specifically, Matt Murley goes on game notes and says his big rumor from what he's been hearing is that Elias Pettersson, a pending RFA, not a pending UFA. William Nylander is the pending UFA. So for people watching, unrestricted free agency, open to sign wherever, restricted free agency, your team still has certain rights. So I think it would be difficult to see Elias Pettersson leave Vancouver, especially how well they're doing this season. And I mean, same with the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think Nylander loves Toronto, but there's certain scenarios where both guys, I think any player and any big star player leaves the team. I mean, money is probably the number one for that. And I think that's going to become the issue with Nylander and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Will that become an issue with Elias Pettersson and the Vancouver Canucks? Pettersson and Nylander, the fellow Swedes, going to Chicago would be insane. And as I was kind of alluding to, I've talked to people who actually think Nylander could go to Chicago for a few reasons. One, you'd get to play with Bedard. 2, big market team, big city, kind of the vibe he likes, I think. And it's not too far from where he's currently at. So I think those things considered, young and up-and-coming team, he can pay, or they could pay him. I mean, I think Chicago would give Nylander $12 million right now per year. I'm being serious. I actually think that's what would happen. And at the end of the day, the Leafs would have to get to at least, I think, 10.5. At least 10, at least 10.5, in around there to retain Nylander at the 8 years, right? Chicago, in a scenario, signing him as a UFA would only be able to offer 7. I think if the Leafs offer 8 years, 10.5 million, I think that maybe gets it done. We'll see. We'll see how Nylander does the rest of the year, because the guy's on pace for like 120 points or something stupid right now. Elias Pettersson, that's an interesting one because Vancouver's doing really well right now. And Pettersson's big thing was, at least around the conversation, was that he wanted to be with a winning team. He wanted to be with a successful team. And Rick Tocchet's come in and I would say applied that. I mean, they've been great. So if they could do it in the playoffs, I think Pettersson stays. I think he signs a long-term contract in Vancouver. I think that's that. But I do think there's a scenario where one of or both these guys look at a team like Chicago and go, wow, playing with Bedard for the next few years, starting, I would say, just an all-time franchise again with the Blackhawks. Obviously, a lot of crap has happened with that organization, but starting fresh with Bedard and then bringing in one of or both of Pettersson and Nylander would be insane. Taj on Twitter here also putting this out there that Matt Murley, I don't know if this is true, I don't want to verify this, but if this is true, Matt Murley from the same town Pettersson's from in Sweden, this guy could be hearing it from family, friends, or people associated with people. You know how it goes, guys, in the industry. And if you've ever been a part of it or you've ever followed along, you know things get along just from one person to the next, to the next, to the next. And it's a game of telephone, right? Some truth is added, some false is added. And we've seen a lot of poor reporting, I would say more so in baseball this year, but I mean, it's tough with social media, right? You don't know what to believe, AI, all these things that are happening now, you don't know what to believe these days. But I will say this is a crazy rumor. I've heard so much from so many different people, including, as I said, writers, industry people, hockey friends, just talking about Nylander's potential to Chicago, and now Matt Murley, who's got sources, for sure, he's got sources. He's right in the game with Spittin Chiclets. They've got a lot of sources that are not talked about enough, but he throws out Elias Pettersson and William Nylander as a potential to Chicago, with saying that Pettersson maybe just wants out if Vancouver doesn't do well in the playoffs this year. I think that's a stretch, but I do think at the very least it's a conversation, and I think more so Nylander, that's the concern one for me. I want to see both these guys stay in the big Canadian markets, but I think there's a possibility. We'll see, guys. We'll see. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like, give me your thoughts down below, and make sure you got the notification on to visit all the videos and streams. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.